Yeah, can you hear me this time?
We can hear you.
Hi.
Loud and clear.
Welcome.
Oh, thank God. No.
Hey.
I was just teasing y'all with that.
You can thank him if you want.
I am a Christian,
He was in
but
here
I just wanted
crawling
to
around
thank you
working
guys
on the
for your
cables.
show. I try to see it every week, especially now that you're on a little earlier, because I work on Sunday evenings, and I'd always call in and then have to run off, and sometimes I'd even get to hear what you had to say.
Well, I'm glad it worked out for you.
I'm so glad you're on earlier. That's much better. And the reason I like your show is it really makes me think, and it challenges me to examine my beliefs, so that I don't find myself practicing blind faith, but more informed faith. And I want you to know that I appreciate you guys very much. And there should be a forum where we can come together and discuss truth. And I'm just glad you're there because you provide that.
Well, thanks a lot, David.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Well, no problem. By the way,
and I remember you calling. You'd always call and have to jet and say you'd get it on the recording or whatever.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Just one thing, and then I do have to jet again. Believe it or not. Are you still there?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, thank God. I got you again. The question on the all-powerful question on God, 3 callers ago, I think it was,
Yeah.
the one who took 25 minutes off the clock all by himself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for keeping track.
Yes. The next one, by the way, was 19 minutes. Okay. The omnipotence question,
Yeah.
I wanted to point out something I've never heard anybody else talk about that I think probably needs thinking about on both sides. When you talk about an all-powerful, omnipotent God, once he has created beings with their own will, he has actually, in effect, relinquished his omnipotence where they are concerned and where their sphere of influence is concerned. Chew on that one.
Sure.
Yeah. I don't think it applies to the specific case we were talking about, because that specific case was about actually successfully killing a whole bunch of people with a flood.
Right.
There's not really a free will issue there. It's really a power to commit mass murder issue there. All you got to do is make the flood big enough that nobody can survive, right?
Well,
make it last long enough and drown absolutely every single person. Free will doesn't really enter into it. It's sheer physics.
Well, my understanding is that what was being talked about was those people practicing free will against what God's plan had been. And when you then ask, well, is God all powerful? Why would his plan fail?
No. The point was that that caller claimed that the purpose of the flood was to stop the seed of evil that those people were spreading.
Actually,
by drowning them all in the flood. That's
belief.
Pardon?
What he's referring to is the belief of the Nephilim, that fallen angels, demons, came down and tried to.
Please stop beeping your phone.
I don't know. Somebody's trying to call me or something.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
What he was saying was that there was
evil
embodied by those people.
He was talking about the Nephilim.
Please.
He was talking about the people who came down.
He didn't say Nephilim. He was talking about the evil people that the God he believes in was trying to kill in a flood in order to stop the evil that they were spreading. And he agreed with me that effort failed. So the God failed to kill all those people. And that is not a free will question. That is a question of physics involving vast quantities of water and human beings.
Although I will make one quick interesting point if you want to.
But what makes you think he failed to kill all of those people?
The caller agreed that the effort to stop the evil that those people were spreading failed.
You're free to disagree with him because there are people who believe it's a global flood.
If you want to say that the evil didn't come from those people, fine, but I'm going to defend what I said to that caller in response to what that caller was saying.
I'm afraid we're all not understanding each other. This would take something longer than the form we have here.
Okay.
But please think about the idea that that entire premise of what was his name, Epicurus, someone. The entire premise that they come out with, that if God is all powerful and He's all good, then how is there evil? And how do bad things happen?
Right.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to at least bring out the point that we might all chew on, that once he has created beings with their own will, he has in effect relinquished his omnipotence where they are concerned.
Sure.
Okay, but you said something very important a minute ago. You said they had free will to disobey God's commands, right? Something like that?
Correct. That's good.
So they had to be punished because they took free will. You see, it really adds up to a contradiction. Did they really have free will if there was a punishment for one of the options if they chose one?
No, I'm afraid you misunderstood one thing there. Mm-hmm. We're talking about a race of demon men.
No, that doesn't say
okay,
that.
we are now.
He is.
But that caller was not talking about that.
Well, I can't defend the other caller.
Okay.
That's the Bible.
Well, if you're coming at us with a completely different argument, let's not talk about that guy at all. What are we talking about? Are you you've brought up two separate issues here now, right? Yeah. One is you're saying that the God relinquishes his free will, his omnipotence over people when he gives them free will. I'll grant you that because there's no such thing as free will if omnipotence involves directly controlling everybody's choices. I'll grant you that as far as choice is concerned, but not as far as physics is concerned. A person can have free will, and the God could still strike him dead with a lightning bolt. The person's free will does not necessarily give him the power to survive, 10,000 volts of electricity. So that is what we were talking about with the flood. Now you're bringing up this whole separate issue about demons being the source of evil in the world. Okay, fine. I really have nothing to say about that.
Well, Jeff,
except that seems kind of nuts.
If I attack you in a street when you don't know it and kill you, I, who am not omnipotent, has just taken away your free will as well. So just the fact that
it away
he's
is
able
different.
to do things we're not doesn't really enter into what omnipotence has to do with.
Ending someone's free will is different from taking control of them. Killing somebody is not a violation of their free will. It's an elimination of it. There is an interesting point that I wanted to make that you may want to look into that I think you might find interesting with regard to this question of God's omnipotence versus our free will. And that's the story in the Bible, and I don't know to what degree you would accept it as true, of Pharaoh, where God specifically violated his free will and controlled him and forced him to do what God needed him to do in order to show off. Pharaoh was ready to let the people go, and God came down and hardened his heart repeatedly so that he could show off with more plagues.
Matt, I do have an answer to that. I'm afraid it's a long answer if you have the time.
You can email it to me because there's other calls on there.
That's what I figured, and I didn't want to do that to the other people.
And you can feel free to call back next week, and I'd love to discuss it too.
Excellent, my friend. Sometime I'm going to get off and be able to go see you over at IHOP.
I'd love to have you come down, David. Thanks.
Great. Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, Sean.
The content of this video is produced by the Atheist Community of Austin, a nonprofit educational organization promoting positive atheism and the separation of church and state. If you enjoyed this content and are willing and able to provide a donation, please visit the website below.